1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost a weekend and you don't know what to do. Or you just need something fun to listen to.
Southside Pod!
Yes, we're on the air.
Pod.
And the gang's all here, all things on the South Side. We're listening to the Southside Pod. Looking for the best Southside breweries. Or you might just need an awesome place to eat.
Southside Pod!
Mount Greenwood, Evergreen,
Southside Pod.
Blue Island, Beverly, Pay Listen, all sub 2. You're tuned into the Southside Pod.
Southside Pod!
Oak Lawn, Midlothian,
Southside Pod.
Oak Forest, Chicago Ridge, Flossmoor, and Bridgeview. You're listening to Southside Pod.
Belly on up to the 9-foot homemade oak bar. Pour yourself a cold one. Bill's at the end of it. Mike's here with his guitar. My name is Chris. This is Southside Pod. 30 minutes of good in a world of dumb. So much going on this show today. Knights of Columbus, one of their chapters located over in Mount Greenwood, sat down and talked with me about a big event coming up, one of their big annual events that does a lot of good around the South Side. They are not the only chapter doing it. In fact, all of the Knights of Columbus chapters on the South Side, you're going to see them out and about in the next couple of weeks. We're going to talk about that. Plus, the show got out a little bit late. I want to blame it on the fact that I was playing 16-inch softball last night, and I wasn't able to get everything together before I had to run to my game. And then I went first to home on a play, and at 44 years old, when you're done doing that, two things happen. Young guys pat you on the back and tell you how awesome it is that you can still run at 44 years old like that. And your ankles hurt like hell. I'm walking around like I'm 90 ever since then. So I apologize for the slowdown. I'm also preparing, though, to hook up with John Brand over at Open Outcry Brewing here on the South Side. And the two of us are going to be in a tent at the Most Holy Redeemer Barbecue Bash that happens this Saturday. Almost 50 teams at this event. You can walk up at the door and pay $25, and you can sample as many ribs as you want to from those 50 different competition teams. People all over the South Side smoking ribs all day long in that parking lot along 95th Street at Millard and Most Holy Redeemer. And the Ron Burgundies are the headlining band, although there are 3 acts, and this thing starts about 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the gates open up. It's a BYOB event, but like I said, Open Outcry going to be hanging at my tent, pouring beer. 21 and over to get in. We got some of the guys that organize the event on this program coming up. Before we get to any of that, though, let's find out what's going on in your neck of the woods. All right, it's word on the street time, and listen, it's fall on the South Side, so everything's happening. Everybody's having an event. There's so much going on. If you have something you want featured on Southside Pod, I'll give that priority if you hit us up at southsidepod.com. There's a little microphone in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen on any device that you're using. Scroll if you don't see it right away, leave us a voice message, or hit the contact page and send us what is going on in your neck of the woods. But here's what's going on this weekend, and there's stuff everywhere. Evergreen Park has their village-wide garage sale at Yukich Field. That's 89th and Kedzie on Saturday, September the 11th. And nearby, the 19th Ward is telling residents they can bring their papers and meds to Crosswinds Church and get disposal and shredding on Saturday. That's at 10835 South Pulaski Road from 9 to 11 a.m. One thing to look forward to next weekend in Palos Park, their Autumn in the Park event is happening 8901 West 123rd Street. Friday, September 17th, it kicks off. It's a weekend thing on Friday and Saturday. It includes food, drink, music, there's a parade, there's a barbecue cook-off. Should be a blast in Palos Park next weekend. Meanwhile, the Palos and Evergreen Park Fire Departments are part of 33 different FDs in Illinois that have headed down to Louisiana to help out with the aftermath of Hurricane Ida. So the South Side representing down there as part of a fire engine strike team. That name makes it sound like they should have lasers on those trucks. Meanwhile, Tuesday night, if you were in the area of Chicago Ridge, or actually in Chicago Ridge, you may have noticed helicopters above you and a lot of commotion. Around 11 o'clock at night, 106th and Ridgeland, a woman sitting inside of her living room had her sliding door open a little bit, and a guy walked in with a bandaged hand carrying a brick and hit her in the face. He took her purse and ran away. Any residents of Chicago Ridge or Worth living in the area between 109th Street all the way down to 102nd, Ridgeland Avenue East, and west to the 6800 block, check your home security video systems. They're looking for any footage you have from 10:50 September the 7th until 4 p.m. September the 8th. The subject, a male black in his 20s, t-shirt, dark jeans, had a hand wrapped in a bandage. That's the giveaway right there. If you have anything, contact the police department. Now, I mentioned a ton of things going on this weekend on the South Side. I may have missed something going on in your area. Like I said, go to Southside Pod, tell us all about it. We don't want to miss a thing. We do our best to get everything out there to you. But I will be participating in something on Saturday the 11th. I talked about it right when the show began. The 9th annual Most Holy Redeemer Men's Club Barbecue Bash. Nearly 50 different teams competing, smoking ribs, and then you get to run around and sample them all. All you can eat while supplies last. Gates open at 5 p.m. Brian Lawler, the Shakes Almighty, and the Ron Burgundies as the headliner, all performing their 21 and over BYOB event. Like I said, open outcry going to be at my tent because I'm competing in this sucker. I've come close. I've nearly won it in past years. I'll be cooking my almost championship ribs at this event, taking place in Evergreen Park, 95th and Millard. And sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar with me right now, Terry Goggin, Mike Kerwin, two of the organizers, and also leaders of their own teams. And this is not the first time that Terry Goggin has sat down here with me at the bar to preview the barbecue bash, because generally he'll stop down here for one of my other podcasts and we'll talk, and then we'll start the trash talk, and then it gets a little nasty, and my ribs are better than yours, and that's what we do each and every year before the
it's radio gold. Fuck Howard Stern. This was absolute genius radio.
I mean, it was great stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it started off with us trying to just kind of have a normal conversation, and it turned into my ribs are better than yours and stick it. That was basically how it was going.
I think if I recall, and I'd have to go back and listen, but I believe you started the trash talk.
I don't remember.
And I ended it at the bash with the higher finish.
You did finish higher than me. You did. You finished higher than me. I mean, I'm not Mike. I'm not Mike who's wearing his championship hat from not last year, but 2 years ago. He's still walking around.
The ultimate traveling trophy. Every year, the cookers that win. It's a 10-gallon felt hat that's made by Stratton Hats.
Yeah.
They do a great job. They do most of the police forces around the nation. So this is just one of the things that they do, and they're parishioners, and they're happy to help out.
You know what I think is great about it, though, and this is funny, most of the guys who are cooks have ginormous noggins. Like, I have a giant head. Terry's head is a good size. Mike's got a good size head. The guy who won last year, his name's Alex Garcia. He was the champion last year. He's one of the two of them. He walks around the hat. I mean, they obviously, these aren't tiny hats.
Oh,
these are big because we have ginormous heads.
So this is
Did they measure your head when they did it?
Yeah, no,
oh,
it's
really?
7 5/8.
Oh, wow. Okay. Part of this event that is for all the people. And then there is the part of this event before it even starts, which is all of the cooks are basically there all day long, slow cooking the ribs. And there's a contest during it. There's music playing during it. There's guys with big giant TV screens watching college football games during it. Take me through what it's like. I mean, I know what it's like, but take the listener through what it's like right now when this day starts, what actually is happening there at the grounds.
Well, the day for us starts around 8 o'clock. We start setting up all the tables in the cooking positions. And then somewhere between 9 and 10 o'clock, the teams start rolling in with their grills, setting up their pits and stuff and getting ready, getting their coals going and their meat on. But then what you're talking about that's really fun is in the middle of the day, we have a optional participation nibblers competition where any member of any cook team with a $20 entry can come in and submit like an appetizer-sized nibbler or food item.
It's supposed to be like a snack,
it's
right?
It's
and
like,
it started off as a snack originally, right?
It's like
when
a
you
1 or
guys,
2 bite thing.
Yeah, bite size. Some of these are as big as a double cheeseburger
Right.
when guys make them. And you know what's great about it is, and not to interrupt you, but I mean, like, what's great about it is that when you guys first started this thing and you came up with the nibbler thing, honestly, how many guys were in the first nibbler competition?
12.
Like 12 guys. Okay. Now you're going to have like 40 probably on Saturday because I know it was pretty close to that last year.
Now we have guys, like most of our cook teams are 2 and 4 guy teams.
And they all do
And several of them on a team will compete. They'll each make their own.
Everybody walks away from their ribs and eats like crazy for like 45 minutes, I would say, right, guys?
Absolutely.
And it's and half of it's got jalapeno in it somehow. Like that's the key to the
bacon wrapped jalapenos with different kinds of fillings have been a popular submission. Yeah, there's usually 9 or 10 of those.
Yeah, but they've never won.
They've never won, but there's usually 9 or 10.
No, they don't win. But yeah, you're right about that. And what's crazy about it as well is that the last 2 years, I've barely eaten any ribs because as a cook, I'm so busy cooking the ribs, getting them out, and then I've eaten so many nibblers, I'm full. Like, I'm not even hungry by the time the ribs come out. Have you experienced that? I mean, I know that you, of course, as a master chef who made it into the finals last year, and I did not. Maybe you do. Maybe it's different for you. I don't know.
But, I oftentimes forget to eat it all, because not because I've had so much in the rib and the nibblers or throughout the day. It's just
you don't stand still the whole time.
I usually get my carbs from Anheuser-Busch during the day.
My wife, I don't know if you heard this story before. Well, you know my wife.
I do know your wife.
When we used to go drinking a lot, she used to play the song in the jukebox every time. And whether she had 1 drink or 20, she used to always sing about this girl named Natalie.
Which is weird, because that's not the name of the song,
Not the name of the song at all. And to this day.
It's not called Bethany?
No.
Not called Stephanie?
No.
Tiffany?
No. She still sings Natalie, though, to this day. So in honor of her and her drinking days, let's sing a song called Natalie.
Let's do it, Bill.
Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water and I think of all the things of what you're doing. In my head I paint a picture. Well, since I've come home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Oh, won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Natalie? Why don't you come on over, Natalie? Natalie! Did you have to go to jail? Put your house up for sale? Did you have to get a good lawyer? I hope you didn't catch a tan. I hope you find the right man who will fix it for you. Shopping anywhere, change the color of your hair, and are you busy? Did you have to pay that fine that you were dodging all the time, and are you still dizzy? Well, since I've come home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and that way you like to dress. Oh, won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Natalie? Why don't you come on over, Natalie? Natalie. Your name's not Natalie. It was Valerie the whole time.
Totally Valerie.
Blow with that girl.
Do not marry that chick.
I have a confession to make. It's true, and I'm guessing you have done the same thing. Put more time into thinking about what's for dinner than preparing for your retirement. But if you think your retirement needs deserve more attention, I agree with you, and I want to help you out. I've got a local, experienced, down-to-earth guy who's a friend of this show. He's got a get-to-know-you approach and do the right thing values, and he's been around for over 20 years right here on the South Side. His name is Tom Walsh. He's located on the corner of 111th and Kedzie, and he's waiting for your call. In times of financial uncertainty, how can you stay on track? Call someone who's invested in your success. Reach out to Tom now, 773-779-0023, or pop in at the office right on 111th and Kedzie. Tell him we sent you. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC. We're in Mount Greenwood at a Knights of Columbus chapter. It's the Father Perez Council. It's chapter 1444. I've got a couple of guys here as I sit inside of a clubhouse, which I think is really cool. Like, I don't, normally you got to be a member to walk into a place like this, but a microphone got me inside of the door. Matt Stevens is here, and we also have Nate Smith. Guys, thanks for having me over.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming in and checking out my 9-foot oak bar.
Yours a little bit longer over here. I mean, this is one of those. I'm going to tell you something. I looked at your bar and I was like, this is a good enough reason to become a member of a Knights of Columbus chapter as there is, because that bar reminds me of something I'd walk into when I was like a little kid, and it was an older bar, and it's like, that is a big, beautiful bar. How long has that bar been there before I tell everybody why we're actually talking to you guys?
We've had it since 2000, I believe, when we moved in.
Yeah, but this place, I forget what the name of the place was before, but that's been here a long time. I think that bar actually came from Lawler's down the street in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, this place was Harper's before we got it, and then before that it was called the Minglewood. We actually still have the sign down in the basement, down in our, well, we call it a dungeon. It looks more like the Silence of the Lambs dungeon if you go down there, but I don't know if the dog's down there, but yeah, it's pretty cool. We were actually thinking about making T-shirts about the old sign. It says the Minglewood.
I'm telling you, it's pretty cool. So this is a place guys come to hang out and they discuss events like a big one that you have coming up here. A lot of people might be familiar with it. They used to drive around for a while. You would go around in your car and it'd be the day that they had the Tootsie Rolls, right? It's the same thing? It's called something else? Break it down for me, Matt.
Yeah, it's people know it as a Tootsie Roll drive, but we call it the ID drive now. It stands for Intellectual Disability Drive. And what we do is we raise money. We take donations in exchange for Tootsie Rolls, and we raise as much money as we can for people locally with intellectual disabilities. We try to help out some people that maybe have a harder time helping themselves, and it's almost all the money goes to neighborhood organizations such as St. Christina Spread, St. Cajetan Spread. It goes to Misericordia. It goes to Mount Greenwood Rec. It even goes out to West Pullman's Rec, and we help some people, like I said, that have a little harder time helping themselves.
So you guys have been doing this thing for years. I mean, I remember even being a kid, like this was like my mother's favorite event, when she got to drive down the street and somebody would give her a Tootsie Roll because that was like her favorite candy. It still is her favorite candy. So, I mean, I remember this one every year on the South Side. What do you guys normally bring in? And you said some local things that it goes to. Is the majority of it here local?
Almost all of it's local. 90% of it's local. The other 10% goes downstate to places like the Illinois Special Olympics or some kind of housing.
We do housing for Special Olympians as well.
Yeah. So it's all goes to a good cause, and there's not a lot of overhead, so almost all of the money is going to the charity. We're not siphoning it off so much for cost. The only thing we pay for are the actual Tootsie Rolls, and Tootsie Roll gives us a break on it. So almost 100% of the proceeds go to these causes. It's unbelievable. Generally, we raise between 40 and 50,000. The last couple of years, we've been more fortunate. We've cracked the 50,000 barrier. And this year, since 1999, since we moved into this clubhouse, we're planning on breaking the $1 million barrier. We're gonna raise over combined $1 million for local charities. So we're really thrilled about that. We're excited.
All right, now answer a question that I think every Southsider has, because we've all seen these where you pull up at the intersection and it's for a good cause, and now you're reaching in your center console and you're trying to figure out what you got, and you know what you might have in your money clip or what you might be having in a pocket or something like that. What is the norm that people give Because, everybody always talks about, like, what do I tip? What do I do with this? What do I do with this? But what is the standard thing? Like, what do you guys normally see people give car-by-car basis when they hand it out? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'd say it kind of varies. About a couple bucks, $2, $5, somewhere around there. Last year, we did very well, it seemed like, and I think that's a testament to the South Side. We didn't know what to expect last year with COVID. Last year, we raised over $50,000. Around here, Mount Greenwood, Beverly, Blue Island, Oak Lawn, Elster is where our corners are at. So, yeah, last year we saw a little bit more. It seemed like people were throwing a lot of 5s and 10s in. But, yeah, everybody's really generous around here. So, and we take whatever we can get.
All right, so but how many people just dump the change cup in there? Because I've done that before. I've been like, I got no cash on me, but here's a bunch of quarters, dimes, and nickels, and I just dump them.
Those washers and Canadian nickels, aren't you?
And here's a couple of screws that are in here. There's maybe a nail, piece to one of my kids' toys. It's all mixed in there.
Showbiz pizza. Well, like Nate was saying, last year was great because we probably didn't get as many donations, but people were giving more, bigger denominations. We're getting 5s and 10s, a lot more 20s. We got a couple hundreds last year. It was awesome.
So you might be thinking, well, it's a Tootsie Roll. It's all about the donation. The Tootsie Roll is just basically like a prize for your donation. Yes. Okay, don't give the price of a Tootsie Roll. That would be ridiculous, right?
Exactly. And we're just around here in Mount Greenwood in this area, but like I like to tell everybody, friends, family, if you see a knight on the corner wearing a yellow vest, just donate, because no matter what, it's going to go to a good cause. So whether it's around here in the neighborhood, though if you are in the neighborhood, definitely give, but no matter where you're from or where you drive.
So where are you guys going to be? Just so if somebody's out, should they look for you all over the South Side? Are there different chapters that'll be different places? You want to tell me, though, a couple of spots you guys know you're going to be at? Yeah,
there'll be different chapters, different councils out throughout the South Side and the South Side area.
And this is the 18th and 19th of this month, right?
It's the 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Okay, 16th, 17th, and 18th.
The 16th will only be at the Rock Island train station. The 17th and 18th, the Friday and Saturday, will be out. Now, our specific council will be out, for the most part, will be up and down 111th Street from Western to Cicero. We'll even be on 111th in Harlem at one point. We'll be on 103rd Street at Western. We won't be on Kedzie, but we will be on Pulaski. And then we'll be 95th and Pulaski as well. We'll be at a bunch of different stores, including Binny's on 95th. We'll be at the County Fair. We'll be at a few Dunkin' Donuts, a Jewel and a Marionette Park, the Jewel in Oak Lawn on 103rd and Cicero. And I think the haircut place at 106th and Cicero as well. So,
you ever been in the Elsip, Jewel? They got a pool over there. Have you ever seen that?
Pond's good for me. Yes. In fact, I'm sure it'll be an inner tube or two out there after this rain too.
All right, so check out these guys. Look around for them. We're talking. It's coming up very soon here. It's going to be over at the Rock Island train station on the 16th. You'll see them. But basically all over the South Side on the 17th and 18th. Be generous. It goes towards a good cause. And fun to hang out with you guys along 111th Street here in Mount Greenwood. Once again, the Father Perez Council for the Knights of Columbus. Matt, Nate, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Chris. And if you're a survivalist, the great thing about the Tootsie Rolls is we're pretty sure they can survive a nuclear winter, so you don't have to eat them right away.
Stock up on them.
Stock up now. Stock up before the next pandemic. I get muscle aches all the time. I've gone from being able to do whatever I want to and not feeling any pain to basically getting pain for any kind of physical activity. Good news, there's a local family-owned Southside business that provides a CBD topical that will not break the bank. Creaky Bone Balm offers concentrated relief for creaky bones. It is an effective hemp-based CBD in a rejuvenating balm. And guess what? It's made in small batches, always free of preservatives, and all natural ingredients. It's great for muscle aches, tension, inflammation, joint pain. You can even use it for skin ailments like burns and dry, cracked skin. Right now, go to creakybone.com and use the promo code BASEMENT. Get 20% off your order. And now check out the new 2,500 milligram balm with reduced pricing on their classic balms right now at creakybone.com. It is now time for your South Side Sound Check. Live music is back at many venues. Check out these. Friday night, the Thirsty Beaver in Crestwood, 5599 West 127th Street, brings you Straw Dog from 9 to 12. That's 9 p.m. till midnight. Checking out a band at 9 a.m. on a weekday at a place called the Thirsty Beaver would be the sign of a problem. Also on Friday night at 10 p.m., Southside Hooligans take the stage in Marionette Park at 115 Bourbon Street for a 2-hour show. Saturday, the big concert in town is in Tinley Park, Alanis Morissette and Garbage. Last time I saw Alanis Morissette, the guy who's the drummer for Foo Fighters was her drummer, because there was no Foo Fighters. And now I've told you how old I am. Meanwhile, Garbage, one of the underrated bands of the 90s. Also on Saturday, you'll be smack dab in the middle of Oktoberfest at the Rock Island Public House. They're having a great weekend out there in Blue Island. Friday night, Revolution Brewing Oktoberfest is going to be there. You get to keep the Stein. They're also showing Beer Fest at their drive-in. But on Saturday, Eddie Carrozza and the boys will be performing polka music starting at 8 p.m. I love Oktoberfest season. If you have something you want to promote on Southside Pod, contact us right at southsidepod.com. Lots of ways to do it. Check it out. We'll get it out there for you. Why? Because we like you. I take the car in to just get it an oil change. That's all I want to do. I want to get an oil change.
Fresh oil before you're driving it a long time. That's a good idea,
right.
You know?
And I'm going to do like that little inspection thing that they do. I brought it to dealership because they had like a deal going on. Rotate the tires, all that stuff.
We'll inspect your car so we can figure out stuff to bill you for because that you need. Yeah.
Right. So then the guy calls me up and predictably tells me that I need new rotors, new brakes, and new tires. And I've played this game before on the south side. I was like, yeah, do the oil change and I'll take my car back. All right, if that's what you want to do. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I go in there and he hands me this checklist that the mechanic had done when he measured things like tire treads and brake pads. And on the actual piece of paper he gives me that I sign as I pay for my thing, it shows my tire treads are perfectly fine.
So you don't need new tires.
And it shows my brake pads are nowhere near needing to be replaced.
You don't need new brake pads.
So then I look at the guy and I say, hey, you called me up on the phone like an hour ago, made me think I needed $1,500 in maintenance. Your own chart back there shows that if the tread is in between this and this, it's fine. It says on the piece of paper that's where mine is. Your own chart back there says that this is what the brake pads need to be at. Mine are at it. Why did you tell me they need to be changed? You know what his response was?
I can't wait to hear this.
Well, eventually they would have to be changed.
Oh, Jesus.
And then I made my 13-year-old son bust a gut while he's standing next to me. I go, well, eventually the sun is going to explode and take out the entire solar system. But we're all probably not going to be here when that happens.
Probably not.
And I just start yelling inside the dealership. And I swear there was a woman who was standing next to me in another line where they were talking about how they needed to replace their tires.
You changed your mind?
Who told them, you know what? I'd like to see what my chart looks like before I buy these tires.
Thank you for listening to see what's happening on the Southside Pod. On the Southside Pod. Join us again and be sure to tell a friend about the Southside Pod. About the Southside Pod. All things about the neighborhood we live in. All things about the places that we go. It's the best side of Chicago, the South Side Pod. And I think of all the things of what you've done. In my head I paint a picture. Well, since I've come home, well, my body's been a mess. And I miss your ginger hair, and you fucking f***ed up.